Alright, hello and welcome back to Ashgabat Cat. Let's play that. Today we're taking a look at Pulsar. No, not Pulsar for the Neo Geo. I was a little bit disappointed when it came up in the random number generator, but this is Pulsar. Pulsar. Bump into the keys. Tank changes color, advance to the next round, lock all doors in numerical order. Ooh, cool. Shoot defenders same color. That's fine. Now actually, you'd think like an old age game like this would be silent. Well, that's not true. It's never silent. I mean, arcade games are predicated, yes, on visuals, but also on the sound. But, oh, that is a very interesting mechanic. So if you actually run into an enemy, then you don't die. You just, it just kind of, the game continues. Like, here I am running recklessly as possible into that yellow guy, and I didn't die. I'm still alive. So that's actually kind of impressive. Now, oh, I see why the number order keys gives you more points. It's because it's harder to do. Well, that makes sense. Oh, it took pity on me, and it's like, okay, you've died twice in this one level. If you were a better Pulsar player, you'd be getting a little further. I'm just gonna make it a little easier for you. And so, well, I don't necessarily appreciate being condescended to. This is fine. This is fine. Alright. And so yeah, I've entered the modern age MAME world of samples. And so now, I have samples playing in the background, so now it makes noise when I shoot people. If I didn't have samples enabled, this game would be entirely silent. So yes, I apologize to all of... Can I get two at once? No, you cannot. It's interesting. I thought the lower right-hand corner was, like first player, second player, third player, but again, this is 1981. Not even 1983 or 5. This is 81. This is probably, maybe not the earliest arcade game, but we're getting there. Okay, so exploding those guys instantly ruins your day, but not in the way you might expect. Also, it's interesting. There's no, like, actual music, but the doors constantly make this like doo-doom, doom, doo-doom, doom sound in the background. So, oh, you get an order, you get double fuel bonus, which doesn't entirely feel worth it, huh? Well, whatever, I'm a slave to the points. And so, this game doesn't have a natural background track, but it kind of simulates one through that. Now, personally, I think the shooting sound is a little bit grating, so I turned that down. Of course, in post, I'll put it as loud as is, you know, morally acceptable. So, you'll be hearing it in all of its sharp tweeting glory. You know what that sounds like? You know how, like, sometimes desktop computers have, like, little tweeter speakers pre-installed? So that if, like, you're trying to post and then it doesn't work, then you can like kind of figure out a code that's going wrong, even if you have like no actual visual input. Yeah, it sounds like one of those speakers. Actually, that's probably how they did it. Not using precisely one of those speakers, but just one of that type of speaker. Well, actually, 81, huh? I wonder if they had other types of speakers. No, that's being too uncharitable. They had Walkman in the 80s, right? So this game actually has an interestingly player-friendly mechanic whereby, well, okay, it has a player-unfriendly mechanic in the fact that the doors actually kind of move and change as time goes on. But at the very least, SEGA didn't go entirely for your wallet and quarters. There's kind of a fuzzy wall protector, like to where the wall is going to move to. So that way, at least, you can't be caught entirely by surprise. Well, that's not 100% true. The enemies do fire at you, so if you're timing things poorly, then you can in fact be caught by surprise by the wall kind of blocking off your path of escape. But, I mean, the enemies fighting you, it's not actually so bad, although I'm beginning to realize that, as in most arcade games, their bite is far worse than their bark. I actually meant that backwards, although that is true though. It's like usually enemies are pretty frightening. But anyway, oh, why did I shoot that? I was just gonna say, it's like, don't shoot the enemies, it's not worth it. Because if you're going to shoot the enemy, that means you have to line yourself up with the enemy. And if you line yourself up with the enemy, you give them, just like that, just exactly like that. I was just pointing that out so you can have an example of what not to do. Then the enemy can shoot at you. And so it's, well, I think what you should actually do is just kind of shoot behind you and do like pot shots. Now, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about the walls. Because on one hand, the wall's constantly changing. It's annoying. It's messing with me. And I feel like it's almost fast enough that, like, it can actually mess with me. But I think maybe, if I was to be more charitable, it kind of eliminates, like, the need to plan and think ahead of time. Because, like, all plans can be undone by just the randomness of the walls. And so instead, what you have to do is you have to learn how to adapt to changing circumstances. Wow. Top 3 players. Huh. Well, no, it's just impressive. This is 1981, so you wouldn't necessarily expect a lot of the creature comforts from later-day arcade games. And in fact, this is sort of like your Pac-Man. It's like you've got this one sort of-ish level, but we're going to make it progressively harder as you go along. But of course, there's no continue function. But even so, they still managed to have, like, a top 3 on the actual gameplay screen itself, at least for the intro. I mean, the thing about Pac-Man is, like, you can always see, like, the top score at the top. Funny how that works. But you can't always see, like, what their names are. Well, I guess this game doesn't actually let you see names. I guess now that I think about it, if it doesn't let you see the names, it doesn't let you enter names. That's actually not that impressive a feature. It's just kind of there. Alright, Pulsar. Let's see if we can at least get to the 3rd level. That seems to be a reasonable marker of, if not skill, then at least competence. Oh, this is a bad break. So the red thing doesn't kill you directly, but it just ran into me there. It's like you think things are gonna work out great. Well, things did work out great, but largely in no part due to my own. Actually, well, okay, it's a strange game to compare this to, but I am getting sort of flicky vibes. Because the enemies, they all have their own, like, different prescribed behaviors, and, like, they seem a lot more content to just kind of do their own things. Like, I mean, Flicky, well, okay, after a while, the cats would catch your scent and, like, would go for you specifically. But it's really strange just how little of a problem the enemies are. Like, the enemies don't kill you by running into you. They just kind of shoot you and stuff. In fact, those yellow enemies, I think they only slightly impede your progress, and that's it. Otherwise, they are more or less harmless. Okay, that sucks. I want that key. Oh, is fuel time, or is fuel fuel? Oh no, fuel is time. Of course, time is money. I don't know why they don't just call it bonus then. They're like, oh, it's the fuel meter. But no, it's not. It's the bonus meter. Okay, well, I see. You just can't go the path of least resistance because then it's just gonna get closed off. I am so close to that 3rd level, I can taste it. Just let me have this. Yes! What level am I on? That had to have been level... Okay, we have to be on level 3, right? It doesn't actually tell me, but you can tell by the number of keys you have to do. Actually, is it me or is the game not actually getting, like, harder? It's just, it's exposing you to more dangerous things for longer. And so in that way, it kind of gets harder. But, like, the actual the difficulty scales linearly in a sense. But that's only linearly because the time spent increases linearly. Like, the actual enemies themselves don't necessarily become any intelligent, any faster, any more likely to shoot at you. They just kind of hang out. Oh. Yeah, no, I think one of the secrets to arcade games that no one ever tells you as a kid is to don't shoot at every enemy. Now, of course, if you are a kid, that is your first impulse. Now, that enemy, I believe, I will shoot... Oh, that is some glorious slowdown. I will shoot at that enemy. Oh, there we go. The last refuge... Oh, no. Might have been a red or something. I thought the yellows finally betrayed me and started shooting at me, and it's like, I curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal. But no, it kind of works out. I think that was a red that shot me, so yellows are still my... I won't call them friends, but I won't call them enemies. Interesting. Yeah, it does seem like there's definitely some wasted potential here in terms of like making the enemies themselves harder. Because, I mean, if the yellows shot at you, that would instantly make the game impossible. If you had more of those red things, or the red things gave more enemies, but no, I mean, it seems to scale linearly, although, again, I didn't get necessarily too far. My name's not even on the high score. Well, my name can never be on the high score list. But at least I didn't even get one of those high scores. I got close, though. Pulsar. It's a game that's a lot better with samples, but... Is it a good game? Or is it a necessary look back on the history of video games? Maybe more of the latter. And on that note, this cat's got a scat.